Good day, folks. I'm Tim Richardson. Excited to have you guys here. Brought in special guest, David McCreary.
People are like, oh, who's that?
Yeah. Well, you're in the right place if you're thinking about getting an RV, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I got to keep remembering to look at the camera, that's the camera. Right. Down, clear down. This is me looking at the screen. This is me looking at the camera. So forgive me if I don't look at the camera and I look at Tim on my screen or me.
The funny thing is we're in the same room sitting across from each other.
I don't know if, there you
go. Find the chat area, folks. We want to do some shout outs. So that's where you're going to ask your questions as we roll through this. Some 5 big buying mistakes that people are making. Can't wait to see where you're from. So just put in the city. That'll be cool. And the city that you're watching from. We'll do some shout outs here while we get everybody in here and get rolling.
Yeah, we got some good information for you. If you are in the market for an RV, this is where you need to be. Right here. It says 5 big buying mistakes you can avoid. I'd say there are like 3 big buying mistakes.
I think we're in the wrong place.
Oh, no, there we go. Oh, okay. Angel from Dallas.
There we go. Sweet.
Mickey from Los Angeles.
We have Austin, Texas.
Kay from Austin.
Nice and warm down there. So, good morning to LA.
So anyways, like I was saying, we got some big mistakes, but then we got a couple really, really big mistakes or things you need to look into before buying an RV, things that can save you guys a whole bunch of money. There's somebody from Florida or from Ohio.
JD in Washington, that's way out there. Nice.
Dick Howell from Central Florida.
David up in Detroit, north of Detroit.
Anybody from South Carolina out there? If so, I will be there in 2 weeks. Cannot wait. Heading down to Surfside Beach.
That's probably nice of you to give them a warning. So
you can get out now.
Don't worry, folks. We're going to record this. So as you're taking notes, you don't have to catch everything. We'll send you a replay in about 3 hours via email. You'll get it, a little link. So San Jose, California, MB.
Love it.
Daryl in Virginia, Cali. Man, let's roll.
Yeah.
People everywhere. So
love it.
5 big buying mistakes you can avoid. So, man, let's talk about, let's skip my first camping trip.
For real?
Yeah.
All right.
It was just,
do you want to?
Fine, all right. So my dad built this RV camper topper.
And that's really you down there,
Yeah,
right?
No, that's really
me.
I was like 3 years old or something. But we lived up in British Columbia at the time, and we went back to Boot Lake. And while we're going back there, check this out. So this huge tree falls right across the one way in and out of this place we're going for our family vacation. So we built this little lean-to. My brothers did. I didn't help much, but I do remember waking up in the middle of the night, like scared, like, Mom, I want to sleep in the RV. I want to sleep in the RV. I think I called it the truck at the time, but I didn't know what an RV was. I just remember going in there, waking up in the morning. My brothers are walking around the campsite, and they're like, Dad, we found these huge bear tracks. Like, seriously. And so
right where you were sleeping.
Yep. So I like to say that RVs saved my life.
Yeah.
So I have a special place in my heart for RVs. And David, this guy, he has been producing 13, 14.
13. I think we're getting ready to do our 13th.
13th.
Right?
So virtual RV shows, like huge 9-hour shows. He's been through thousands of RVs, making videos, and can answer lots of questions between the two of us and making sure that you guys are taken care of. In fact, we were just with the owners of RV Wholesalers. Neither of us are on payroll there, but they had asked us, like, hey, we've been school teachers. We have that in our hearts, like before getting into RVs 24 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
We've been school teachers. We want to help educate folks. If that means them buying from wherever dealership, they're fine with that. Just don't make the mistakes that they're seeing a lot of people make. And they hear like the bad end of the stories, because a lot of times people come with them. It's like, oh, this happened to us. And so that's how we gathered all this information over the last several years. So we're going to pass it on to you, because we don't want you to make the same mistake. So number one, not to you. All right, here we go. So, not asking for the out the door price. Folks, it's very critical, especially these days. Can you guys hear now? Hopefully you guys can hear now. So I think we have audio.
Sorry,
I'm
audio
gonna
problems.
stop this time.
All right. Thanks for hanging in. This is
high
live,
tech, high
live
problems.
internet.
At least we're together. Now you know. Dave's a little shorter than I am.
The funny thing, why didn't you just do this in the first place?
Let's go down. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
All right, let's try this. Let us know if you can hear us in the chat, but we're going to keep rolling. We have a lot to cover. So before we talk about pricing too much, let's talk about why it's important to get the out-the-door price.
Right.
Because
Well, there's a couple reasons now.
Yeah.
One is the hidden fees that they will try to get you with at the dealership. So in other words, you'll go in, you'll buy an RV, let's say for $10,000, just to keep it simple. You buy an RV for $10,000. Then when you go to pick it up, you realize you're actually paying $14,000. And that's because they throw in the, $1,000 for a PDI, which is the pre-delivery inspection. Maybe they throw in $1,200 to walk through the RV with you. Maybe $700.
You tell them all the hidden fees that we're going to get into.
Oh, we are going to get into those. All right. Yeah.
But no, it's critical.
Yeah.
Because
well, that's how they rope you in. They tell you, look,
Yeah.
we can advertise this RV for $9,000. And you're like, that's great. You put $1,000 down, your deposit.
Yeah, you get a little sales agreement.
Yep.
Sometimes you don't even get a sales agreement. They'll just take the deposit and just say, oh, yeah, we have you down for this.
Or the
this
sales
RV.
agreement has some very small writing on it that you didn't see. And then you end up paying for that. Or, like I said, we'll get into RV, the hidden fees later. But you got that. But you also got now price increases.
Okay, yeah. So this is crazy right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys didn't tune in 3 weeks ago because this wasn't as big an issue. At least we didn't see it as much happening. But this is a real serious problem that's happening. And so it's no hidden hidden discussion saying prices are on the rise in RVs. I'm sure you're seeing that. Obviously in the used world, but in the new world, the manufacturers are coming back and saying, hey, we have to raise the price. In fact, one of the guys, one of the manufacturers, I won't name any names, but in the last 42 days had a total of 3 or 4 price increases, but it was a total of 16%. One was like 4%, 6%, 4%, whatever something like that. So they're happening on a regular basis. I know one guy I heard was saying that he's seen in the last 5 years this amount of price increases that we've seen in 1 year and just in the last few months actually. Mm-hmm. So obviously they're needed because all the supply things are
right.
going up. So
it's not like the manufacturers are trying to rip you off. Supplies and prices are going up.
So that's a given.
Right.
But
if you can, go ahead. If you can sign on the dotted line saying, hey, this price that I'm signing for right now is the price I get to pay for the RV when it's delivered in 2 months, then you're doing okay. The only people doing that right now is RV wholesalers. So in other words, if you buy an RV today from RV wholesalers, you sign on the dotted line for, again, let's say $10,000. When it's delivered in however long, you're going to pay that $10,000. They're not going to come to you and say, well, look, we had to add another $700 on because the price of the fiberglass, and then another $300 because the price of the refrigerator inside went up.
And well, it's kind of weird too, because the manufacturer doesn't charge the dealership for that RV until it's delivered to their door. So the day that they pick it up from the manufacturer. So it's not when they order it. So they can order it, place their order. They put down a deposit, just like you guys put down a deposit when you buy something. Same thing. But the RV dealership doesn't have to pay it and take it onto their bank books until it comes onto their property. So that's why the manufacturer is saying, hey, when we have a price increase, the day that the price increase goes into effect is the day that we manufacture that RV. So say it's a $10,000 RV and the price is $1,000 increase. The dealer buys it for $10,000, orders it, they make it, but the day before it's delivered, it goes up $1,000. So it's $11,000. That's the price the dealer pays when it pulls onto his lot. So if he promised you that it would be $10,000, he has to eat the $1,000, and that's why dealers don't want to obviously don't want to eat that.
Right.
So then they want to pass it on to you. And so tell them how they're doing that. I mean,
so you'll see it on the contract, some maybe very small writing on the contract that says that they can do that to you. I don't know what the exact wording is, but
price may be subject to increase based on manufacturing price increases or some way that they can pass that on to you. So that's why we really go back to our very first point. Make sure you ask for the out the door price. How much is that going to be? And if they can't commit to, I mean, what else would you buy that you're not? It's like,
if you go look, if you were going to buy a TV and you walked up to them and said, "All right, this is $300, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, but I'm going to run to the back and get the box that the TV is in." Right. And they come back out with the TV and they say, "All right, that'll be $700." You're like, "Wait a minute, this was $300." That's not right. So if you could go to buy that TV and say, "Hey, I'm going to sign this. Says you're going to sell me this for $300." When they get back from the back with that box, they can't raise the price because they've signed right there that says they're going to sell you that for $300. Same thing with RVs. Go in, say, "This is my out the door price," right? Yes. Sign on this dotted line for me so I know you're not going to add another dollar. Because what will happen is they raise the price. You've already given them $1,000 deposit, and you can either take the RV plus all the added stuff they'd add to it, or lose your deposit and go someplace else. So just be smart going in and get the out the door price written and signed by the dealer you're buying from.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pressure at the end. So you order it, you wait a long time. Now it's months and months and months. I mean, it's not just a few days now. If it's not in stock, then the order time is really long for a lot of manufacturers. So you order it, you've waited. Now there's a lot of pressure to take that price increase or have to start the whole process over. I mean, who wants, and they don't tell you about that until you get there. And then certain things like these hidden fees that we're going to talk about right now, like you mentioned, the first one, PDI. So folks, I have can't see you, Dave.
No, that's all right.
I have a download for you. Just go in the chat area, and I'm going to put this up here for you to download right now. Okay, look for a little file download. This is the hidden fees that you can get. So download that. It's a one-page free PDF anytime. That way you don't have to write all these down. But the first one you mentioned was the PDI. Can you explain that a little more?
So PDI is pre-delivery inspection. So in other words, when the dealership gets the RV in from the manufacturer, they're going to walk through it and they're going to make sure that things are working right. It could be something as simple as a couple screws coming loose in the transportation. It could be something bigger than that, but the dealership most of the time is going to catch that stuff before you get it. I know RV wholesalers, they have like over 100-point inspection that they do.
180, I heard 180? Them say the last I heard.
They're checking a lot of stuff out on that RV. They want to make sure you get the right RV. So most dealerships are doing that, which is great. Problem is a lot of them are charging you for that, which there's no reason to do that. There's no reason to do that other than they trying to milk you for more money.
They're actually getting money from the manufacturer, right? I mean, the manufacturer is saying, "Hey, you're like our next second quality control line, like let it go across the road one time, check it one more time, test everything, water heaters, all that stuff. And then we'll pay you dealership to fix these things." So it's not like they're not getting money and they're getting at full rate. So it's not like, why wouldn't they want the business? So why should they charge you?
Never pay for that.
It's like double.
Again, if you have the money to buy an RV and pay extra, then don't worry about it. Just have fun, go buy whatever you want. But if you don't, if you're thinking, I need to make sure I'm spending what I want to spend, then watch for these hidden fees. So the one is PDI. Another one? That back up there to see what we want to talk about.
Yeah, you forget.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I forget if I go in order. What's it? Transportation fees. So there are a couple fees that RV wholesalers, where we are now, will charge you. They're not hidden, but they are fees. They are the transportation fee from that's paying to get the RV from the manufacturer to here, and then you've got the tax. What is it?
Yeah, dock and title.
Dock and title. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a fee. Any state's going to have some kind of fee like that. So.
I know with RV wholesalers that all the added fees are a little under $700, but you will hear about that. That will be on your final price. When they tell you what you're going to pay for that RV, that will be included. They're not going to add that later. So that's the hidden fee part. People knowing that they're going to charge you this and not telling you. It doesn't matter what they're charging you for. just don't keep it hidden from the client or the customer. So, yeah. So they say that from the manufacturer, which a lot of them are in northern Indiana, what, $2.50 per mile is about what it's going to be. So,
yeah. So they're all manufactured in Elkhart, Indiana, like 95% of them. So if you're in Florida, or like Joyce is she's in Indiana, but Melissa in Reno, you can just do the math from Reno to Elkhart, Indiana, or something like that. And then it'll tell you how many miles. So that dealership is either going to have to mark up the price of their coach or their RV by $3,000 to cover that, or they're going to have a transportation fee that should be about that much. If you see like a $5,000 transportation fee, you start asking a question. Or if that price is that much higher. So you should see a little difference between dealerships on that side of it. But here's a little tip for you. Make sure they separate the price of the transportation from the price of the RV, because you don't want to pay sales tax on that. So all RVs, of course, like anything, has sales tax, but it's the tax of your local county that you live in. So your residence is basically your tax area. So don't forget that when you're doing the math, like, hey, how much is this RV going to cost me? You have your tax and then and then all these things. So they'll spell all that out. They should, and that's what you're going to ask for because you've watched this.
What's another one?
So there's some weird fees that are popping up, so we don't have the time to go into all this, but just really know it's not a hidden fee. Like you said, Dave, it's not a hidden fee if you know about it and you're okay with it. So just make sure you ask lots of questions.
They'll try. I've heard also tires. Like,
yes.
I think the worst though is the walkthrough. Like you show up, we were here shooting the virtual RV show. There were a couple here picking up their RV. They told us that they were going to buy an RV from a place down the road. And when they went to pick it up, they were going to charge them $1,400 to walk through their new RV with them and show them how to do things. Ridiculous. Yeah. Do not pay for stuff like that. Don't let them get you with that. So no going in about the hidden fees. Again, you can find out about the hidden fees just by saying, hey, I need this price out the door. Sign this paper for me.
Well, it's like this. I mean, you think the RV is going to cost $1.
Let me scoot up a little closer to the camera here. So, all right. So this is just to take a break for a second. I've done magic no joke. I've done magic for 30 years. That's sad.
I couldn't tell.
Oh, he's adorable. This really is a dollar bill. I do a lot of what's called close-up magic, which means I do magic while I'm hanging out with people and dinner events. So anyways, this really is a dollar bill. There's nothing funny about this dollar bill. But the very first magic trick I ever learned was taking a dollar bill, and a lot of you may know this, folding it in half, folding it in fourths, and then when you unfold it, it's upside down. Elementary school, not that great. If you go a little further, again, the dollar bill, you fold it in half, and this would be a lot more impressive if you were here and you knew without a doubt that this is a real dollar bill. Fold it into eighths. Fold it one more time. Fold it one more time into 16ths. When you unfold it, if you fold it correctly, it now looks like that.
$100.
$100, boom.
So that's kind of, I love it because that's kind of like what you feel like when you buy an RV, you go to pick it up, and you're all excited. You got your kids there. You picked out, they're looking at it. They let you sneak a peek at it, and the kids are like, I want the top bunk, or whatever, grandkids. And then they take you into the paperwork room where it's like, oh, sign here, sign here. Oh yeah, we highlighted everything. Don't worry about it. It's like sign. And then all of a sudden you realize, like, the sinking feeling is like,
wait a minute, this is $4,000 higher
for a walkthrough. I just paid for a PDI. I just paid for, like, I had no idea. But, like, what are you going to do at that point? Like I said before, and that's why you guys don't have to worry about that right now, because you're going to ask. You're smart.
Get the price written down. What's the next one?
Oh, man. So let's talk about, we hit price protection. That's a big thing. So make sure you ask for that. And then the hidden fees. And then let's talk a little bit about the big buying mistake. People, they just don't understand the term. Well, let's hit number 2 here. Okay. Not getting the most for your trade-in. So some of the folks here, let me move this back a little bit.
Yeah, the folks here at RV Wholesalers will tell you to sell your RV yourself. Especially now, everybody wants an RV.
Gosh, yeah.
It's hard to get hold of RVs. People are waiting months for an RV. So if you have one, you put it on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, that's a really good place.
eBay, even you can get rid of your RV.
Well, RV Trader is a good one.
There you go.
If you guys are thinking about selling, actually, I want to see how many people this will be your first RV. I'm going to put up a little poll here, so let's see how many people this is their first RV. So we'll get back to you with that. But yeah, I mean, people are driving states away, so don't even think just list it in your little town or city. People will come multiple states for these things right now. It's crazy. Yeah. And we see there's a question. I'm hearing that what about people, should they buy used or new right now? Well, right now the used prices are crazy, but
just as much, if not more than. Yeah.
There was a lady that was in here the other day that we were filming, and she had just drove from the state of Washington all the way to pick up her new Rockwood. It was a pretty good size one. And she said, I just sold my last Rockwood. I had it 5 years, drove it to Alaska. I don't know how many times. She has family that lives up there, and beat it up, and it was still good. And she got more money for it, she said, than she paid for it 5 years later.
That's crazy.
And that was like when we were camping in October with our families. Chris and Christy were next door to us, and they were looking at the RV that him and his wife were in. And it was like pretty much the same layout as the one that they had, but theirs was 7 years old, and they bought it 3 years prior. And
so they bought it used.
Yeah, so they bought it used. They paid $16,000 for it, and same layout. They're loving this one because it's all, high tech, got all the
newer, nice
look and everything. They asked us how much this thing was. I hated to tell them because it was $15,500 for the same thing. They paid $16,000 3 years ago
used.
For used.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would be.
So right now, buy new. Even if you have to wait for a couple months to get it, you're going to wait almost any place, depending on what RV you want. Definitely buy new, but try to sell yourself. It makes sense that if somebody buys the RV from you, a dealership buys the RV from you, they're going to want to make money. So they're not going to give you exactly what you can make. So whatever they make on top of that is what you could have made just by putting in a little work and putting a picture on Facebook Marketplace or getting a hold of RV Trader. So definitely, if you can, sell yourself as opposed to doing a trade-in.
Yep. And then the next big buying mistake is people don't understand like how financing works in RVs and the terms and all that. So let's go to the expert. This is a video that we shot just a little bit ago. Needs to probably update, but this guy Dallas is an expert on this. He's done so many finance deals, like he's seen it all. So let's play that real quick, and then don't forget to ask questions in the chat too.
Hey guys, Dallas Henry here. I'm going to talk to you guys today a little bit about financing an RV, a couple of tips, tricks, things you might need to know. One big thing a lot of people don't know is when it comes to RVs is term. Term with recreational vehicles can be a lot longer than what most people are used to, especially financing cars and things like that. One big thing to remember is generally they'll go out to sometimes 20 years. I know it seems crazy to some people, but it's quite a long time. They want to make that payment really manageable. Now with recreational vehicles, if you have pretty good credit, longer term often means better rate, which just kind of flips everything on its head of whatever everybody really knows, again, when it comes to cars and mortgages and things like that. Because generally with those type of items, the shorter term generally means better rate. Okay, with RVs, remember, that's not always the case. If you got pretty good credit, normally the longer term, better rate. So that's one big thing to remember when you're going to finance a recreational vehicle. So keep that in mind as you go. Again, just to recap, longer term, good credit, typically a little bit better rate. So keep that in mind. Don't be afraid of that longer term. Even if you want to pay it off a little earlier, that's okay. They are simple interest loans. At least they should be. With all of our lenders, they are simple interest loans. So you can pay the loan off a little bit earlier. Okay, if you guys so choose you want to do it, and you can apply more money to principal, that'll have you paying at least a lot less interest over the term of that loan, whatever the term you decide it is. Once you lock in a deal with a bank or lock in a deal with a dealer, you can change how fast you pay it off. You can change how much money you throw towards the interest and the principal and things like that. One thing you can't change is the rate. So remember that. You always want to get the best rate, and a lot of times that is longer term. Okay. Another thing to remember is don't ever tie your recreational vehicle loan to your house. A lot of people think, hey, really good rates with my home equity loan. Put a lot of work into this house. I want to use that equity. Not a real good, wise idea. I'm not a financial analyst by any stretch of the imagination. But what I will tell you is when the proverbial hits the fan, and things happen. As so many people know in 2020, there's a lot of things that have happened this year that no one expected to happen. One thing that can happen is you can lose your job. You can have time off, things that you might not be getting the money you thought you were getting. So in that situation, the last thing you want to have happen is you not be able to make your RV payment and that be tied to your house, because now if something happens, they're not coming to just get your RV, they're coming to get the house now too. So don't risk your family, don't risk your livelihood, don't risk your finances by doing something like that. It's something to really remember.
All right, can you hear us? Hopefully everything audio-wise is working. We are, so that was buying mistake number 3, not understanding term, which Dallas did a good job explaining that. Man, the 4th big buying mistake is not knowing the big dealer finance secret. And this, I'm excited about this, and I'm glad you're here to share this, because this is a big deal. Like, this is going to save you a lot of money. I mean, I'm serious. Like, this could save you money, even if you don't buy an RV and you buy something else, a car, your next vehicle. I had no idea this was happening. Mm-hmm. And we're going to explain in just a minute what that big dealer financing secret is. But yeah,
you want me?
Yeah, tell them this big.
So here's the deal, and I didn't know this either. Banks get, for lack of better words, give a commission to a dealer, whether it's a car or an RV. They give a commission to that dealership for using their bank to finance an RV. So in other words, if a bank goes to an RV, or an RV place goes to a bank to get a financed RV, they will give a kickback to the dealership for using them. So it could be anywhere from $500 to a few
so you're not
$1,000.
talking just a few $100.
No,
I mean,
we're talking big money.
You're buying a $100,000 RV. I mean, it could be $6,000 to $10,000.
Yeah,
like we're talking a lot of money,
right? So the RV dealership goes to X Bank, and X Bank says, all right, thank you for borrowing this much money. Here's $3,000 for you. Please come back to us again, and we'll give you more money. That $3,000 should be yours, but the dealership most of the time is going to keep that and not even tell you about it. That you need to ask about that. Ask about what do they call it?
The official word is dealer reserves. That's kind of what the official kind of code word from the banks use when talking to the dealerships. And you can't beat up your salesperson. Sometimes you go into a car dealership and you're talking about this. They might not honestly even know. I didn't even know about it until Dallas started explaining it to me. I had no idea this was
the higher ups are going to know.
The higher up, they know, but that's what they count on that extra profit. So not only they're getting profit here from sale, then they're getting profit if they can get you guys to finance. Yeah. And so that's a lot of money. So
just ask for that money back.
Yep. Kind of save that card to the end, and it's like, well, how much extra are you going to give me if I finance? And then you say, well, I know the bank is giving you a dealer reserve or a commission basically to
use them.
Yeah, to write this paper for them. So how much of that are you going to give me if I do this deal today with you? So it's not like cash where it's like, hey, I'll give you a better deal if I get cash. The dealership actually makes more if you don't use cash. So yeah man.
So we got people asking real quick if we're going to do this again, or you'll get a copy. You will get this sent to you in a few hours. Yeah. And then you also can tune in anytime on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We usually do this. Either me and Tim, or Tim will do it with a salesperson from around here. Yeah, I'll put this web address here, but it's let's see, rvbuyingmistakes.com. Go there and you can see all the latest schedules for coming RV webinars. Yeah. And we have a show coming up. Tell them about that. So next Wednesday is our next virtual RV show. If you've had that chance to see one of these, they are a lot of fun. It actually goes from noon Eastern time to about 9 o'clock at night. We walk through a bunch of RVs. We have a band, Trailer Swift. These guys are amazing. I point to you, show your shirt. Yeah. As you zoned out there for a second. Trailer Swift, from guys from Nashville that put together music, and just, they are amazing. We'll laugh. We'll have fun. I'll do some magic. We'll get silly. But
yeah, a lot of these little education.
Yeah, a lot of tips and tricks in there are thrown in there, so you get more of what we're doing today. And then again, like I said, we actually walk through RVs. So if you're thinking about an RV, you can see the schedule that we will try to keep. If you go to virtualrvshow.com, you can get registered there for giveaways. We do giveaways. I forgot to mention that. But then we also have a schedule there, so you can see, like, if you're looking for a fifth wheel, you'll see when we're going to show fifth wheels.
Yeah, so that's next, Joyce asked, next Wednesday. Noon Eastern time.
What is that date? 26. 26?
Oh, yeah, 26.
Okay.
May 26th.
Whatever next Wednesday is. And yeah, you tune in and just keep it on the background. Check in with us all the time, and you'll see some great RVs. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time with this.
Hey, so to get back to the dollars and cents thing, because this is a big deal, this finance thing. And I know there's a lot of people that don't want to have to take out a loan to buy an RV. You've been saving, working hard, you've sold a house, whatever, you're at that point and you've made good choices, and the last thing you want to do is borrow money
and add a bill.
Right. Yeah. Yep. And pay more, and throw away money and interest. And so we get that question. Okay, so since you can't just go in and say, hey, can you give me a better deal because of cash, because the dealer actually doesn't get as much money when you do that.
Right.
Here's what you can do. At least this is kind of a workaround, because the bank is basically saying this is only for a 12-month commitment. So as long as you make all your monthly payments on that RV for 12 months, some of them are even less, but for the most part, 12 months, all the banks are pretty much saying that. We will give the dealership that nice big little check for that, and then hopefully they'll give a piece of that to you. At least RV Wholesalers does. What do they call it? The
dealer reserve,
dealer finance discount.
Oh, okay, that's what. Yeah,
or finance discount. RVWholesalers.com. Those guys call it the finance discount, and where they give that money back to you if you finance. But yeah, so here's how you work around it. So what you do, you pay off. Say you have a $50,000 RV you're buying. You pay off $47,000 on your first payment, and then the next that last $3,000 you just make the minimum payments for the next 11 months. So you're only basically paying interest on 11 months of like $300 times 10 or times 11 or whatever it is, $3,300. That's all you're paying the interest on. So it's like $150, $200 of interest you're throwing away to get, in this case, $50,000. You're probably going to get $3,000 or $4,000 to $5,000 a discount that they give back to you
because of that dealer reserve.
So that's a way around it. And same thing too, if you wanted to switch over to your credit union, after that year, it's no big deal. If you think that rate's going to be better and you want to pay it off sooner in a shorter amount to get a better interest rate, that's fine. So just don't be afraid to get creative and save a lot of money. Like, it's worth the hassle. It's not that much. There's not much to it, and it's all legal, and it's all spelled out from the bank. So, and they're fine with it. It's just that's a way to do it. So kind of cool. Yeah. So last other big thing is I think the next big buying mistake, number 5, is not asking about service, understanding service. That's a big area. I mean, a lot of people, to be honest, like, these things are hand built, like, it's not like a car where we've toured the manufacturer a couple times. We've shown the tour on the RV show, the virtual RV show. And it's cool to actually see these things being built, because you've got humans building these, like on a line, like the thing just moves down the line. They're building his cabinets, or this guy's doing the wiring, or this guy's putting in the refrigerator, the walls, the ceiling. So it's cool. Yeah, and they let us in with cameras. I mean, they're not like, it's not as, you hear rumors like, oh, the RV industry is like, just falling apart, like they're just so overwhelmed, like they're just, it's not that way. Like we've been there even just in the last month.
Things are going great for them. They're working hard to get you your RV, but they're not, what we've seen anyways, they're not cutting corners to get them out any further or any faster.
I was kind of surprised. I actually think the quality is getting a little better because they're more focused. Like they are like, hey, instead of every 2 hours, they're switching a floor plan, switching a model make, within a model line. Now, or model and make line. Now they are focused like multiple days on one particular floor plan. So I think they get better. Like I feel like they're doing better on that end. So.
But yeah, you're taking, and we've talked about this on the show, you're taking a home basically and driving down the road with it. Bolts are coming loose, things are happening, it's understandable. So no matter where you are in the country, you could run into an issue with your RV. It could be something small, it could be something big, but you're never going to find these issues until you take the thing out. It's not like you're just going to walk out to your driveway and then all of a sudden the bolts have fallen loose.
Right. Or it's like Murphy's Law. It's like, it's going to break down when you're far away. Like we never vacation. I don't know where. Well, you're all over the place. You're in where? South Carolina.
Yeah, this coming weekend.
But you never vacation though at the campground down the street. Where it would be nice if you bought your RV local and it broke at the campground down the street. But he's going to be 3 states away, vacationing in his camper or hotel or whatever it is this time. But that's when it's going to break, Exactly. It's like, how do you get it serviced? I know that's a big question. It's like, okay, so if we do buy from the guys over at RV Wholesalers, like, how do we get this thing serviced?
They've got their nationwide service network. This is an unreal idea. It's absolutely brilliant. They've got over 2,900 service centers across the United States that pretty much no matter where you are, they can get hold of somebody nearby that's reputable, that they being RV Wholesalers believe in, that can do a good job to get you back on the road and get your stuff taken care of. We've heard stories after stories on the Virtual RV Show. We'll talk to David, one of the owners here. One of the stories he really likes is a family that left, I believe, like the New Jersey area and went to Florida. They were going to stay at the Wilderness campground down there in Disney. And they got there and the air conditioning started leaking, which could have absolutely ruined their vacation. They could have had to spend money on actually getting into a hotel room. They could have called the thing short. They got hold of RVW, said, this is the problem. Within 20 minutes, they had somebody from a service center nearby there in Florida came out. It was just a couple screws had come loose on their air conditioning and was leaking a little bit. Fixed it, vacation saved. I shouldn't even say saved because it was almost like nothing even happened. They had a little bit of water that it was taken care of, but it could have gone very, very bad for them had they had to bring that RV back to RV Wholesalers or back to wherever they lived and had it fixed. So RV Wholesalers, their nationwide service network is brilliant. If you go to rvwholesalers.com, you can get more information on this. It's just a great, great idea. It's peace of mind is what it is. They offer you peace of mind when you get an RV from RV Wholesalers.
That's good. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then the other question I get a lot, because I grew up, my dad's like, when you check out at Walmart, like, don't waste your money on buying the extra warranty on the electronics.
Right.
And so I just kind of had that mentality. I don't know if your dad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But when it comes to, should we buy an extended service contract on a RV? And if you've been like us, we've been driving these things down the road to do these filming shoots. Like we're banging around so bad. Like it was a bad road. I had to take Advil just to recover from these.
It was a bad. It was a freeway that they were redoing, and we were in a. we were taking a. What were we doing? We were heading up to Michigan Elkhart to shoot some stuff.
Yep.
And we're shaking like, and we were talking to each other like this. I remember one point I called my wife and I'm talking to her like this, and she's like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "I can't talk normal because we're bouncing up." And it was bad. It was bad. So just
think about the trailer that's going through all that. Like every day that you're hauling that thing, it's like bang bang. Especially if you live in Ohio, Michigan, where the roads are like not the greatest. But, or Joyce in Indiana, but it gets a little crazy. So imagine. All the appliances, and you can't just go to Home Depot and buy a new refrigerator and just stick it in place. It's a special refrigerator, 12 volts, propane, like all the stuff. So anything you're going to bang down the road for a number of years is going to have issues, sadly to say, but that's the fact. And that's why I did a bunch of research on RV warranties, extended service contracts, what they officially call them. But how do you protect it after that first year or whatever is covered when you buy it? And that's where you really want to look at, there's two types. And so ask a lot of questions. This is kind of the 6 big buying mistake, not asking enough questions.
This is, first of all, this is what bothers me every time we do this. This is the 5 big buying mistakes is what we call it. And then we have 6 buying mistakes.
Right there.
I don't understand. Is it just too much to go back and change the very first slide?
This is a bonus. 5? It's a bonus.
Well, then it should say bonus. It shouldn't say number 6.
All right, so the bonus buying mistake people make is they don't get a warranty that covers and pays the bills. Like, make sure you get one. I mean, if you're going to spend money on this thing, which I think is a good idea, you can decide. But if you do spend your money, make sure you get one that's going to pay the bills. And there's 2 types. So real quick, and we'll wrap up here. There's one that's called stated. So they state on the contract. So this is the contract. Hold up your contract.
This is my contract.
Here's your contract. They're going to state what items are covered. So it's a pretty good size list. Maybe, I don't know, 50 things, 100, whatever. Those are the stated things that are covered. What happens though, and this is why I want to warn you, in stated, for example, if they cover that refrigerator, that sounds great. However, if the inverter, which isn't on the list, breaks and burns out and shoots high voltage to the refrigerator and blows out the refrigerator, now the fridge isn't covered because it was damaged by something else. So there's these little loopholes. Okay, now take your hand, flip it upside down. Now we're going to do the opposite.
This is the other.
The exclusionary contract. So
are there people still watching? People stuck around even
so exclusionary is the opposite. They're only going to list on there the things that are
not covered.
Yeah. So for example, they're not going to cover brake pads. You have to replace your brake pads at the right time. It's a maintenance thing. So those kind of things are excluded. So there'll be the short little list of things that are excluded. Everything else, the whole thing is covered except for these few items on this short list.
So you want an exclusionary.
Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive because it's covering everything, but it's paying the bills. And a lot of times what's happening is stated. I know one big camping chain of RV dealerships, they sell you stated at a higher price than normal, and it's actually about the same price as a good exclusionary. So that's why I want you to ask, like, is that a stated coverage? Is that, is this list just the things that are covered, or everything's covered except for these things? So.
Yeah.
Oh man, I should warn them about lifetime warranty. That's a bad news. They have this thing called warranty for life, lifetime warranty.
I saw one on the way down to Cincinnati. They have a big RV dealership said warranty for life.
Yeah, that's it. So that's the biggest scam. Like, I was at went with the owners of RV Wholesalers once to a dealers only show. And I knew when these guys came up to me, when I walked by this booth that said warranty for life or whatever, I knew when they came up and they're like, hey, you should really consider this for your dealership because it's good, man. You get on average $900 per person, per customer per year in service dollars coming back into your dealership. This is how it works. And they explained to me, it's like, so the people that buy the RV, they get this warranty for life. And what you do is, they're required every year to come in by a certain date. You set that on the calendar. If they miss that by one day, it's null and void. So the whole life of the warranty is void if it's missed by one day. But they're required to come in and get maintenance on the roof and different service things. So they're paying money each year to come in. And then, this is the beauty of it for the dealership, you're going to get extra service dollars because you're going to find other things that are wrong with their RV when they come in. So it's a way to get people into your dealership. On average, $900 every year from every customer.
Yeah, so
they're forced to do it. So that's when my little BS detectors went off, and we ran from that one. But yeah, be careful of that one. That one doesn't make a lot of sense. So very good. Well, man, covered some great stuff. Good questions. I tell you what, I'm going to put up some information. If you get through this and there's more questions, no worries. This guy, Josh Stranell, He's going to hook you up. Just email Josh Durnell at rvwholesalers.com. Here's his extension. Or if you just dial extension 1000. So call this main number, 877-877-4494, extension 1000. It says, or 143 just direct. But 1000 will get his team. And they can help you figure out pricing and all that kind of stuff. But if you have questions or if you want to figure out how much is my used one worth, I want to sell it, he can help you figure that out so you can sell it outright so you can make the extra bucks. And
so go to rvwholesalers.com too and just kind of snoop around. You can build your own, you can design your own and get a quote on how much it would be. So just go play around there or give Josh a call. He would love to talk to you. Actually, he was just in here right before we went on and we told him you'd be calling him. So. Yeah,
I tell you what, if you guys take a picture of this screen right here, get in here. Take a screenshot of this or on your phone, take a picture of this screen right here. And if you email this picture or a picture of this screen, if you email a picture of this screen to us, to this email address, joshdurnell@rvwholesalers.com, just do that. And the first 2 people that do that, I told Josh, I'm like, hey, your dad, the owner, one of the owners, and his uncle are the owners. I said they're going to give away 2 $500 discounts off of towards delivery. So if you're in California, they'll take $500 off that, getting it from here to California. So on top of their already low prices. So do that. Take a picture of this. Email it to jdurnell@rvwholesalers.com. First 2 people to do that. If you're at that point where you're ready to buy an RV, I know a lot of you are just getting the process rolling, and so that's fine too. But that's a way of saying thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully we answered a lot of questions, but most of all, hopefully we saved you a lot of headache and heartache and wasting of money, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you get into this world. So thank you guys. And while you're saying goodbye, just in the chat, tell us what your dream is with your RV. Love to hear where you want to take an RV someday. Mine is Mount Rushmore. That's why on this picture here, I really want to get to see this. I don't know. Where do you want to take an RV? I've never seen it in person. Have you?
No, my wife has, but I have not.
So that's on my bucket list.
It's amazing.
What's on your RV bucket list? Type it in the chat. It'll be really fun to see.
Yeah, we'd love to know.
So,
all right. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with us. If you got more questions, get hold of us or just tune in next Tuesday or Thursday.
Oh, yeah. We missed one from Joyce. We'll ask that to Josh and have him get with you if you want to reach out to Josh. So, cool.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. We'll see y'all.
Take care.